Hi, this is Ian and welcome to the video. In this video, I want to first share one of the masterpieces by director Kurosawa, the Ikiru, with you, and then I want to share some phenomenological reflection of this movie upon Martin Heidegger's Being and Time. Ikiru, simply translated to live, is directed by one of the most iconic names in the Japanese film industry, Kurosawa Akira. Director Kurosawa's film has been more popular in Western than in Japan, where people criticize him for his adaptation of Western genres and authors such as William Shakespeare, Martin Heidegger, and many others. But in Western, a huge amount of movie was remade based on his masterpiece, such as the movie The Outrage was based on his movie Rashomon. The Magnificent Seven was based on his movie Seven Samurai. The movie A Fistful of Dollars was based on his movie Yojimbo. Unlike any other director Kurosawa's movie in which the main focus is on a certain event or an adventure, Ikiru is like a documentary that films an unsuccessful man's later life, including the anxiety of the nothingness he got from his previous life and the process of him transiting from an inauthentic person to authentic after death. Today's protagonist is Watanabe-san, who works for the government and has not missed a day of work in nearly 30 years, and discovered that he has no other hobbies or pleasure in life. He is depicted as being nearly an automated machine at work, who simply follows through on his prescribed function. However, he was informed indirectly by a doctor that he got a stomach cancer and he has almost 6 months of life remaining. As Mr. Watanabe walks outside of the hospital onto the street, there is at first no sound. It was extremely silent. Standing on the curb, Watanabe-san suddenly takes a step onto the street and we're blasted with the loud noise of traffic and cars. According to Heidegger in his book Being and Time, it is this state of anxiety that pulls us out of our fullness into that unfamiliar state where what had been familiar now becomes unfamiliar. We no longer feel at home in this world of Watanabe-san's average everydayness. However, this isn't a bad thing for him because his everydayness is simply killing time and wait for the time to get off work. In other words, diagnosis with cancer was the moment that Watanabe-san's life truly began. It is at this moment that life has to face itself and can no longer hide itself within its world. This leads to Mr. Watanabe's first attempt at a recovery from his distracted world. He first tried to have a conversation with his son and his daughter-in-law, then going out for a night with his new friends. It seems that he's resolved to do something in the face of his death sentence, but it's only doing things, but nothing that could really help him for his anxiety and his authenticity as a human being. After all of these distractions, Mr. Watanabe falls in with his ex-coworker. From Watanabe's perspective, this coworker is full of life that Watanabe cannot help but be drawn to her. He spent some days with her, taking her to many places and spoiling her just to watch the joy on her face. He has finally found a life that is not hidden behind the mask of distraction. He found the pleasure of life. However, he was under the awareness that All of the things that she appears is simply an overflow from the joy of his ex-coworker who lives with an awareness of the distance between life and possibility. Watanabe-san continues to follow her around with a sense of fascination, as if through observing her he could learn the authenticity of life. The turning point of the process of Watanabe's from inauthentic to authentic happens in their last date in a restaurant. He confronts the reason why he follows her around and taking her to any place she wants just out of the curiosity of how she is able to stay and maintain in a status of authentic and enjoying the life. Unfortunately, she's not able to provide any practical advice or play a role as a guide for Watanabe, since she has not yet fallen into this kind of distraction and anxiety and unable to experience what Watanabe is suffering right now. She explained that she's making this kind of toy rabbit every day. She enjoys it because for her this is a way in which she can play with all the children. She is able to make this decision and also to imbue it with meaning because she has maintained an awareness of the distance between life and its possibilities. Watanabe-san suddenly realizes this as well while staring at the rabbit. He quickly returned to the work, a place from which he has absent for nearly 30 years. After the conversation with his ex-coworker and the experience with her for several days, he quickly started to thinking what is the meaning of his work, what is the thing that he could possibly live after his death. The last chapter of this movie takes place in Watanabe's funeral. He successfully pushed the plan of building a park into reality, and he eventually found the meaning of his work, as well as recovered from anxiety. According to the police officer who saw him for the last time, he was singing and smiling in the snow. In the end, Mr. Watanabe is able to recover a meaningful life through the uncovering of the distance between life and possibilities. In contrast to the initial exhibition of the inauthentic self of Watanabe-san, the film represents in a primordial and authentic manner to the particular way in which Watanabe-san finds his true self. Just like how Heidegger argued that in this way the phenomena of care will be adequately clarified for the first time, and we shall then integrate it as its ontological meaning. I think this movie could also be interpreted as a way director Kurosawa answers Heidegger's question on how to bring together the anticipation and resoluteness as two separate phenomena together.